All all right, everybody, come on in, listen. So we are waiting right now for a press conference at Mar-a-Lago in Florida from President Donald Trump. So let me tell you what's going on. So last night, overnight, President Donald Trump had made a post on Truth Social, which is his social media platform, and he said that the United States had carried out a airstrike and an operation where they captured uh, the Venezuelan president Nicolás Maduro and his wife. Okay, and so right now, this is pretty big. For the simple fact is that President Trump does what he wants to do, and there are no consequences for it. So it's interesting to see, the people reactions and what he has to say as it relates to people saying that this was an illegal attack. Trying to force a regime change. Good morning. Good morning to everybody that's coming on. Good morning, Courtney. Good morning, good morning, good morning. So right now we are waiting on President Donald Trump's press conference, which it was supposed to start at 11 o'clock. And so he's going to explain what happened in this strike, who was involved. And, we'll find out is if Maduro is really in U.S. custody. And on X, there's a photo circulating that's showing two DEA agents with Maduro in custody, but it's unclear if that's a real photo or if that photo is AI, because y'all know AI is taking over. Okay. Hello, girl game 3333. Hello, how are you doing? Good morning. Bless Mom 0517. Good morning. Miss Whitaker, good morning. Good morning. Liz Taylor, good morning. Good morning, Katie Moore. Good morning, Kiera. Good morning, Charlene. Maduro is a brutal dictator. Good morning, Bree Stacks. And y'all know Trump has been, they've been blowing up boats in the Caribbean that they say is carrying drugs to the United States, deadly drugs, fentanyl, all types of white powdery substance drugs. And the Trump administration has claimed that Maduro is behind all of this. He's the one trying to poison and kill Americans. And people say, well, Trump is trying to get oil. He's trying to steal those people oil. They don't know why he's really bothering them. And so, this is big. As you know, under the Biden administration, they already had an indictment for Maduro, and he was already wanted by the United States. So Trump went over there. And then the funny thing about it is that yesterday, China representatives was meeting with Maduro. And, Maduro posted it on his Facebook page. If you go to his Facebook page, and the delegation for China who was over there, they are still over there right now in Venezuela, and they were there at the time that Maduro and his wife was allegedly captured. Hopefully we get to see photos, because the Trump administration, they are good at releasing unclassifying videos and stuff and releasing it to the public, such as the boat strikes and all type of other stuff. So it's going to be interesting, to see this message that he sends to all of these other people, because that is very savage if you think about it, that, China coming over there trying to hook up, with them, and Trump come and take that motherfucker overnight while y'all still there. I mean, it's just crazy. And Trump, he's gonna boast. He's gonna boast. He's a narcissist. He's going to, be very conceited and all that stuff. So we're just waiting on this press conference. It was supposed to start at 11 a.m. So we're 12 minutes. Well, they are 12 minutes behind schedule. He's in Palm Beach, Florida, and Mar-a-Lago. So yeah. Good morning, Virgo Chow. And just a side note, y'all, we're gonna be going back live again, like maybe about 3 o'clock, because I want to talk about that story related to the wife who said that her husband was sleeping with his first cousin. She was on live like 30 minutes ago, and the sister of her husband pulled up and they started fighting on live, child. It was a mess. We couldn't see the fight though, but it was just a mess. So she told the full story what happened. I haven't watched it yet. I'm gonna watch it with y'all when we go back live later, so we're gonna talk about it. So yeah, get used to this. 2026, we're gonna be live a lot. So make sure you turn your notifications on. So that's what we're waiting on, y'all. For those who are coming in overnight, President Donald Trump made a claim on his Truth Social saying that the United States had carried out an operation in Venezuela and that President Nicolás Maduro was captured and removed from the country. Okay. Now, this is a claim that Trump made. All right. Now, the Venezuelan government, they have called this a military attack, very aggressive, illegal. And of course, social media was flooded with videos in Caracas about the explosions. You can see the United States planes flying in. It was a lot. Wait, Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social. Hold on, wait. Let me see. He just posted on Truth Social. Hold on. Let me see. Wait, let me pull this up. Donald Trump just posted on Truth Social. Okay, let me share y'all this. President Donald Trump just shared this on Truth Social right now at 11:13. This is what this, and I was just talking about this. Y'all, President Donald Trump just shared that on Truth Social. This is moments before he's about to go at a press conference. Okay, you see right there. This is crazy. The hell of fire is what Trump just showed. So we're waiting for a press conference right now. President Donald Trump just posted a video on Truth Social showing the United States Armed Forces raining missiles down on Venezuela. And they also allegedly captured the president, Nicolás Maduro, and his wife. I wonder what they're going to do with his wife. I want to know what they're gonna do with the wife. What. So that was a video. That was a video that he just posted. So we're just waiting on him right now. So I guess he wanted the media to play this before he come up. So let me go use the restroom before we get started. Well, Bree, I think it was a targeted attacks. I think they destroyed, like they fired missiles at like the port where the boats were coming out at, and then some other places. But I think it was non-civilian areas. I mean, Donald Trump didn't know the backlash that they would get. The United States can't do what other countries do. I'm not saying they have not done it, but blatantly, sometimes in things like this, innocent people do get hurt, especially like with the situation, over in Gaza with Hamas, because Hamas was actually like hiding out in like residential places. Like they had their tankers and they were shooting missiles out of like residential areas. You know what I'm saying? But I feel like that because it was so many civilians, people didn't have to get killed like that. Like, you know what I'm saying? They should just target the areas, bases. That's same for the United States. If we was to get attacked, they would attack our bases. Now they probably would try to kill the people too, but only way that's gonna happen is if they come over here and do something like that. Like I don't think, something would reach us, possibly. I don't know. This is why we follow these developments and stuff like this so you can find out what's going on and get information. So right now we're waiting on the president um, to give a press conference about them capturing Maduro, and they had just put um, a bounty on his head too, not too long ago. Think 50 million. Let me see. Michelle said if he didn't get the authorization from Congress, this is illegal. It's all illegal. Yeah. You have a lot of Democrats who are saying that. Um, and I'm sure now you have Marjorie Taylor Greene against him. Well, I don't think they're really against him. They turned against, he turned against them. But just by thinking about it, Meet Base 44, a complete AI creation platform. So we don't know what Trump and them doing. Hold on. Y'all, it is so many media people in that room. Oh my gosh. Let me see what y'all. He better be careful no one captures him. Oh my God, Sabrina. Ooh, listen, if they was to do that, whew. Mm. Could be insane. I can't stand to look at that clown, so I will be watching Tubi. Oh, they already got the wife too. Yeah, but I wonder what they're gonna do with the wife though. Or they might make her a co-conspirator. You didn't tell him to stop. You knew what he was doing. Yeah, they got the wife too. Yep. Hold on. Yep, they got the wife too. Well, they won't be sleeping together tonight. She got to go to the women's cell. He got to go to the. All of this stuff is just a distraction, really, from the Epstein files. Everybody's trying to get away from the Epstein files. Okay, so this is Maduro and his wife. I think her name is Cecilia. Let me see. Let me look at a Maduro wife. So that's her right there. Misili Pasta. I'm sorry. But this is Maduro and his wife, Masilia. I wonder would Trump go and try to talk to him face to face? He'd be over there like Law and Order Special Victims Unit, where they be standing in the mirror. He'd go over there, too involved in law enforcement. Yeah, Michelle said they want Venezuelan oil. Venezuela oil. Now Trump has claimed that the oil tankers that they have been taking are sanctioned tankers that was headed over to Russia. Um, did Melania tell Trump to stop? I don't know. Yeah, it's a big distraction. JJ said everything has to be done. Everything he yes, everything he has done been to get away from the Epstein files. Yeah, I feel like try to come out the Dr. Martin Luther King, that did not work. Obama, that did not work. I mean, he's trying to just Bill Clinton, as he can tell, that's not working. You know, and then the crazy thing about it is, I don't know if you guys are on X, but I be over on X. I don't post a lot. I just post from the blog page over there, but I don't really be like using my fingers a lot. But a lot of the MAGA Republicans are calling for the firing of Pam Bundy. And they are saying it's because she is not bringing any arrest against the people who opened up the investigations into Trump, that had his Mar-a-Lago home raided, that, a lot of the charges that he got and a lot of the things that he went through, they want her to, go after them, go after the Democrats, go after the January 6th committee. And I think that's where the conspiracy theory stops with the Trump administration, because it's like they are with it. They are with the conspiracies until you really have to stop, because the law stops you. They can't just arrest these people because you want them to arrest them, because you think that they unlawfully went after somebody. They may have felt like that they had the same legal grounds to go after Trump and all of the people that they did, the January 6th rioters, like they did, just as much as y'all think that y'all have the legal grounds to go after the people that your cult following want you to go after. And so, and the law says you got to have probable cause. You got to have, you know, all of, you got to have some type of evidence. And so they are calling for the fire of Pam Bundy and stuff, because they feel like that she is doing everything except for making arrests on Democrats. And so, um, this it's just interesting to see how this all plays out. Oh, and the other point I was going to say is, to add to that, is that a lot of people who are watching social media, these people are one day going to be grand jurors. And the Trump administration had a hard time. Like, they tried to indict Letitia James, the New York Attorney General, like how many times? Like, they tried to indict her like what, 3-4 times? And the grand jury said no, 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 no. And I think we're going to see more grand juries saying no. So it's not going to be up to Pam Bundy. It's going to be up to a grand jury who's going to say, yes, you have enough to file criminal charges and them to be brought, before a judge, for official court proceedings. But if the one day grand jurors are online saying that the president is saying, hey, in like like a regular community we live in, that stuff would not fly. Our lawyers be right on that. The sheriff saying, targeting a specific person and stuff like that, but obviously the Trump administration don't see that that is like political. I mean, that's like malicious prosecution. You know what I'm saying? To target someone and to want them to be charged because they did something to you, or they, interpreted the law in a way that gave them legal grounds to go after you. Uh, Indicted by a federal court in New York. Yeah. Leah. Yeah, Celia. So right now, guys, tuning in. We are waiting for President Donald Trump. He is in Palm Beach, Florida. He's in Mar-a-Lago right now. Last night, he had the White House just they got a picture. Donald Trump just tweeted a photo of 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 Maduro, who we want to see. Let me screenshot this, and I'm gonna put it up for y'all. President Donald Trump just tweeted this 4 minutes ago, and he said Nicolás Maduro on board the USS. Can y'all hear me? Okay, can y'all hear me? Okay, hold on. Let me put this picture up here. I don't know why it's taking me so long. There's Maduro. Hold on. Okay. Okay, y'all can hear me. Okay, good. I don't know. My thing kept flashing over here because I'm not on camera. My red light kept flashing. Okay, so President Donald Trump just posted this 4 minutes ago of Nicolás Maduro on board the USS Iwo Jima. And look at him. He got what a sweat, some sweats on, a whole jogging outfit on. They got him blindfolded. Well, he ain't blindfolded, but what they got on him? Some shades, some ear mufflers. Damn. So this is the photo that President Donald Trump just posted on social media of Nicolás Maduro in the custody of the United States of America. Y'all, this right here is breaking news. This right here is breaking news right now. And we're waiting on President Donald Trump for a press conference. Look at him. That's Nicolás Maduro. What would they do with the wife? And the reason why Donald Trump is doing this is because the Venezuelan government, from my understanding, they were asking earlier, they were asking for the United States to produce Maduro. So this is a photo of Nicolás Maduro. Trump is releasing all of this stuff before he comes on air to address the nation. Okay, this is Maduro. Nicolás Maduro on the Iwo Jima, baby. That's Nicolás Maduro. Lord, 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 Lord. They have produced the habeas corpus. Oh, man. Okay, hold on, y'all. I was trying to see something. Okay, I need to post this on social media real quick. What y'all saying? Okay, I got y'all comments up. I've been watching this since early and on it. Thank you for covering. Yes, Melinda, I try to do my job. 2026, I'm gonna do more of my job. More of my job. So y'all will be seeing me live and more live, more, when stories are developing, you'll see me more live and covering those stories. You'll see me out and about in cities and covering stories on the scene. So I just want to get back to my old roots a little bit. You know what I'm saying? You never get too big where you can't go back out there in them streets and do these stories like you've been doing, and that's where I started, in the streets and covering, stories, criminal trials, exposing corruption. So they got him. Yep. Trump said, "Here's the body." Okay. Nicolás Maduro. Y'all, I can't. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm glad y'all rocking it out with me. Um, yeah, yeah, he is. Yeah, he is. I mean, it goes both ways. I think they want the oil, and then they trying to stop this. But I don't understand. Them trying to get him on drug charges when I mean Trump just pardoned a drug lord, right? I mean, pardon what one Honduran president for the same exact thing. I mean, that he's accusing Maduro of. And then, yes, Rodriguez, you have a lot of people in Venezuela. They are celebrating, like they are. They are. We waiting on Trump, y'all. This is going to be very interesting. This is going to be very interesting. I am eager to hear. I wonder if Trump is going to tell the other people, like the other people that is part of Nicolas Maduro um, administration, to pack it up, or what are they going to do? What if Maduro goes to trial and gets found not guilty? Yes, yes. Camila said that's what con man does. Trump is a lunatic and bipolar unhinged clown. That part. And so we got to learn. Serena said we got to learn to mind our business. Why he kidnapped the man and his wife. Saying they're accused of killing Americans with these drugs. So we're just waiting for the press conference. I didn't know it was going to take 30 minutes for them to come up here for a press conference. Good gracious. Hold on. Let me pull this up. Jasmine Crockett. So in a tweet, Jasmine Crockett, y'all know Congresswoman Jasmine Crockett for Texas, she said Trump promised, quote, no new stupid wars, end quote, yet he's starting one with Venezuela without congressional approval. People can't afford groceries and millions are losing health care, but this is where his focus is. This is unconstitutional and not what the American people asked for. I concur. I agree with Jasmine Crockett. I agree with the Congresswoman. Um, He said they on CP time. Good gracious, Ree. I'm like, man, I'm about to end this live and just come back when he come up there, but I don't want to miss a second of it. You know what I mean? Because by the time he come up there, I got to get this back up, and it ain't gonna notify y'all in time. It's just I don't really like using this restream and StreamYard shit because it does not notify all of your followers. It's like it's better to go live like straight from Facebook. That's why a lot of people don't get a lot of notifications than to go on these streaming things, um, because I don't know the trigger. It don't be working. Y'all heard what Jasmine Crockett said. He's just giving it out. So this is what President Trump posted um, earlier. And while we're waiting, let me just play this video for y'all again. Who, when we were first coming on, President Trump had posted a video of, hold on, y'all. I got my boy thing up here. President Trump had posted a video of the United States basically attacking, you know, targets in Venezuela. And, you know, while they were at the same time capturing Maduro and his wife.
And it was a effective and powerful displays of American military might and competence in American history. And if you think about it, we've done some other good ones like the attack on Soleimani, the attack on al-Baghdadi, and the obliteration and decimation of the Iran nuclear sites just recently in an operation known as Midnight Hammer, all perfectly executed and done. No nation in the world could achieve what America achieved yesterday, or frankly, in just a short period of time. All Venezuelan military capacities were rendered powerless as the men and women of our military, working with U.S. law enforcement, successfully captured Maduro in the dead of night. It was dark. The lights of Caracas were largely turned off due to a certain expertise that we have. It was dark and it was deadly. But captured along with his wife, Celia Flores, both of whom now face American justice. Maduro and Flores have been indicted in the Southern District of New York, it's Jay Clayton, for their campaign of deadly narco-terrorism against the United States and its citizens. I want to thank the men and women of our military who achieved such an extraordinary success overnight with breathtaking speed, power, precision, and competence. You rarely see anything like it. You've seen some raids in this country that didn't go so well. They were an embarrassment. If you look back to Afghanistan, or if you look back to the Jimmy Carter days, they were different days. We're a respected country again, like never before. These highly trained warriors operating in collaboration with U.S. law enforcement caught them in a very ready position. They were waiting for us. They knew we had many ships out in the sea, just sort of waiting. They knew we were coming. So they were in what's called a ready position. But they were completely overwhelmed and very quickly incapacitated. If you would have seen what I saw last night, you would have been very impressed. I'm not sure that you'll ever get to see it, but it was an incredible thing to see. Not a single American service member was killed, and not a single piece of American equipment was lost. We had many helicopters, many planes, many people involved in that fight. But think of that, not one piece of military equipment was lost, not one service member was, more importantly, killed. The United States military is the strongest and most fearsome military on the planet by far. With capabilities and skills our enemies can scarcely begin to imagine. We have the best equipment anywhere in the world. There's no equipment like what we have. And you see that even if you just look at the boats. You know, we've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by sea. 90%. Each boat kills on average, 25,000 people. We knocked out 97%.
Dang.
And those drugs mostly come from a place called Venezuela. We're going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. So we don't want to be involved with having somebody else get in, and we have the same situation that we had for the last long period of years. So we are going to run the country until such time as we can do a safe, proper, and judicious transition. And it has to be judicious because that's what we're all about. We want peace, liberty, and justice for the great people of Venezuela, and that includes many from Venezuela that are now living in the United States and want to go back to their country. It's their homeland. We can't take a chance that somebody else takes over Venezuela that doesn't have the good of the Venezuelan people in mind. We've had decades of that. We're not going to let that happen. We're there now, and what people don't understand, but they understand as I say this, we're there now, but we're going to stay until such time as the proper transition can take place. So we're going to stay until such time as we're going to run it, essentially, until such time as a proper transition can take place. As everyone knows, the oil business in Venezuela has been a bust, a total bust, for a long period of time. They were pumping almost nothing by comparison to what they could have been pumping and what could have taken place. We're going to have our very large United States oil companies, the biggest anywhere in the world, go in, spend billions of dollars, fix the badly broken infrastructure, the oil infrastructure, and start making money for the country. And we are ready to stage a second and much larger attack if we need to do so. So we were prepared to do a second wave if we needed to do so. We actually assumed that a second wave would be necessary, but now it's probably not. The first wave, if you'd like to call it that, the first attack was so successful, we probably don't have to do a second, but we're prepared to do a second wave, a much bigger wave, actually. This was pinpoint, but we have a much bigger wave that probably won't have to do. This partnership of Venezuela with the United States of America, a country that everybody wants to be involved with because of what we were able to do and accomplish, will make the people of Venezuela rich, independent, and safe. And it will also make the many, many people from Venezuela that are living in the United States extremely happy. They suffered. They suffered. So much was taken from them. They're not going to suffer anymore. The illegitimate dictator Maduro was the kingpin of a vast criminal network responsible for trafficking colossal amounts of deadly and illicit drugs into the United States. As alleged in the indictment, he personally oversaw the vicious cartel known as Cartel de las Solas, which flooded our nation with lethal poison, responsible for the deaths of countless Americans, the many, many Americans. Hundreds of thousands over the years of Americans died because of him. Maduro and his wife will soon face the full might of American justice and stand trial on American soil. Right now they're on a ship. They'll be heading to, ultimately, New York. and then a decision will be made, I assume, between New York and Miami or Florida. But we have people where the overwhelming evidence of their crimes will be presented in a court of law. And I've seen it. I've seen what we have. It's both horrible and breathtaking that something like this could have been allowed to take place. For many years after his term as president of Venezuela expired, Maduro remained in power and waged a ceaseless campaign of violence, terror, and subversion against the United States of America, threatening not only our people, but the stability of the entire region. And you all saw it. In addition to trafficking gigantic amounts of illegal drugs that inflicted untold suffering and human destruction all over the country, all over in particular the United States, Maduro sent savage and murderous gangs, including the bloodthirsty prison gang, Tren de Aragua, to terrorize American communities nationwide, and he did indeed. They were in Colorado. They took over apartment complexes. They cut the fingers off people if they called police. They were brutal, but they're not so brutal now. And I just have to congratulate our military, Pete, and everybody, and our National Guard, because the job that they've done, whether it's in Washington, D.C., where we have a totally safe city, where it was one of the most unsafe cities anywhere in the world, frankly, and now we have no crime in Washington, D.C. We haven't had a killing. We had the terrorist attack a few weeks ago. A little bit of a different kind of a threat, but we haven't had a killing in a long period of time, 6-7 months. We used to have two, on average, 2 a week in Washington, our capital. We don't have that anymore. The restaurants are opening. Everyone's happy. They're going, they're walking their daughters, they're walking their children, their wives. They walk to restaurants. Restaurants are opening all over Washington, D.C. So I want to thank the National Guard. I want to thank our military. And I want to thank law enforcement. It's been amazing. And they should do it with more cities. We're doing it, as you know, and we're doing it in Memphis, Tennessee right now. And crime is down. Just sort of started a few weeks ago, but crime is down now 77%. And the governor of Louisiana called, great person, and he wanted us to help him, as you know, in a certain very nice part of Louisiana, and we have done that. And it was a rough section, and we have crime down. I understand it's down to almost nothing already after 2.5 weeks. New Orleans, it's down to almost nothing, and we've only been there for 2.5 weeks. Can't imagine why governors wouldn't want us to help. We also helped, as you know, in Chicago, and crime went down a little bit there. We did a very small help because we had no working ability with the governor. The governor was a disaster, and the mayor was a disaster. But it knocked down crime. But we're pulling out of there when they need us. We'll know. You'll know. You'll be writing about it. And likewise, Los Angeles, where we saved Los Angeles early on, where the head of the police department made a statement that if the federal government didn't come in, we would have lost Los Angeles. That's long after the fires. That's when they had the riots in Los Angeles. We did a great job. Got no credit for it whatsoever, but that's okay. It doesn't matter. We don't need the credit. But we'll be pulling out when they need us. They'll call, or we'll go back if we have to. We'll go back. But we did a great job in various cities. But the place that we're very proud of is Washington, D.C., because it's our nation's capital. We took it from being a crime-ridden mess to being one of the safest cities in the country. But the gangs that they sent raped, tortured, and murdered American women and children. They were in all of the cities I mentioned, Tren de Aragua. And they were sent by Maduro to terrorize our people, and now Maduro will never again be able to threaten an American citizen or anybody from Venezuela. There will no longer be threats. For years I've highlighted the stories of those innocent Americans whose lives were so heartlessly robbed by this Venezuelan terrorist organization. Really one of the worst. One of the worst, they say the worst. Americans like 12-year-old Jocelyn Nungary from Houston. Beautiful Jocelyn Nungary, what happened to her? They, as you know, they kidnapped, assaulted, and murdered by Tren de Aragua animals. They murdered Jocelyn and left her dead under the bridge. There was a bridge that will
over here too.
Never be the same to so many people after seeing what happened. As I've said many times, the Maduro regime emptied out their prisons, sent their worst and most violent monsters into the United States to steal American lives. And they came from mental institutions and insane asylums. They came from prisons and jails. The reason I say both, they sound similar. Actually, prisons, a little bit more hostile, a little bit tougher. A mental institution isn't as tough as an insane asylum, but we got them both. They sent from their mental institutions. They sent from their jails, prisons. They were drug dealers. They were drug kingpins. They sent everybody bad into the United States, but no longer. And we have now a border where nobody gets through. In addition, Venezuela unilaterally seized and stole American oil, American assets, and American platforms, costing us billions and billions of dollars. They did this a while ago, but we never had a president that did anything about it. They took all of our property. It was our property. We built it. And we never had a president that decided to do anything about it. Instead, they fought wars that were 10,000 miles away. We built Venezuela oil industry with American talent, drive, and skill, and the socialist regime stole it from us during those previous administrations, and they stole it through force. This constituted one of the largest thefts of American property in the history of our country. Considered the largest theft of property in the history of our country. Massive oil infrastructure was taken like we were babies, so we didn't do anything about it. I would have done something about it. America will never allow foreign powers to rob our people or drive us back into and out of our own hemisphere. That's what they did. Furthermore, under the now deposed dictator Maduro, Venezuela was increasingly hosting foreign adversaries in our region and acquiring menacing offensive weapons that could threaten U.S. interests and lives. And they used those weapons last night. Potentially in league with the cartels operating along our border. All of these actions were in gross violation of the core principles of American foreign policy, dating back more than 2 centuries, and not anymore. All the way back, it dated to the Monroe Doctrines, and the Monroe Doctrine is a big deal, but we've superseded it by a lot.
Y'all look at Mark Rubio.
By a real lot.
Look at Mark Rubio.
They now call it the Monroe Doctrine. I don't know.
Mark like this. Mark gonna run for president.
Monroe Doctrine. We sort of forgot about it. It was very important, but we forgot about it. We don't forget about it anymore. Under our new national security strategy, American dominance in the Western Hemisphere will never be questioned again. It won't happen. So just in concluding, for decades, other administrations have neglected or even contributed to these growing security threats in the Western Hemisphere. Under the Trump administration, we are reasserting American power in a very powerful way in our home region. And our home region is very different than it was just a short while ago. The future will be, and we did this in my first term. We had great dominance in my first term, and we have far greater dominance right now. Everyone's coming back to us. The future will be determined by the ability to protect commerce and territory and resources that are core to national security. These are core to our national security. Just like tariffs are, they've made our country rich, and they've made our national security stronger than ever before. But these are the iron laws that have always determined global power, and we're going to keep it that way. We will secure our borders. We will stop the terrorists. We will crash the cartels, and we will defend our citizens against all threats, foreign and domestic.
Oh, my God.
Other presidents may have lacked the courage or whatever.
Who wrote this?
To defend America. But I will never allow terrorists and criminals to operate with impunity against the United States. This extremely successful operation should serve as warning to anyone who would threaten American sovereignty or endanger American lives. Very importantly, the embargo on all Venezuelan oil remains in full effect. The American Armada remains poised in position, and the United States retains all military options until United States demands have been fully met and fully satisfied. All political and military figures in Venezuela should understand what happened to Maduro can happen to them, and it will happen to them if they aren't just fair, even to their people. The dictator and terrorist, Maduro, is finally gone, and Venezuela people are free. They're free again. It's been a long time for them, but they're free. America is a safer nation. This morning, it's a prouder nation this morning because it didn't allow this horrible person and this country that was doing very bad things to us. It didn't allow it to happen. And the Western Hemisphere is right now a much safer place to be. So I want to thank everybody for being here. I want to thank General Raisin Kane. He's a fantastic man. I've worked with a lot of generals. I worked with some I didn't like. I worked with some I didn't respect. I worked with some that just weren't good. But this guy is fantastic. I watched last night one of the most precise attacks on sovereignty. I mean, it was an attack for justice. And I'm very proud of him, and I'm very proud of our Secretary of War, Pete Hegseth, who I'm going to ask to say a few words. Thank you very much.
On time.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. Finally, a commander-in-chief the world respects and the American people deserve.
He loves
the
when they
president said,
him up and talk.
Words can barely capture
He loves
the
praise.
bravery and the power and the precision of this historic operation. A massive joint military and law enforcement raid flawlessly executed by the greatest Americans our country has to offer. American warriors are second to none, the best in the world and the best of our country. What all of us witnessed last night was sheer guts and grit, gallantry, and glory of the American warrior. I'm simply humbled by such men. And I tip my hat to our chairman, Dan Raisin Kane, and all those Americans who stood watch last night. Our warriors are the elite of America, and again, President Trump has your back. No other country on planet Earth, and it's not even close, could pull this kind of operation off. And no other president has ever shown this kind of leadership, courage, and resolve. The most powerful combination the world has ever seen.
Y'all see Trump.
As the president said, our adversaries remain on notice. America can project our will anywhere, anytime. The coordination, the stealth, the lethality, the precision, the very long arm of American justice, all on full display in the middle of the night. Nicolás Maduro had his chance, just like Iran had their chance, until they didn't and until he didn't. He effed around, and he found out.
Hello?
President Trump is deadly serious about stopping the flow of gangs and violence to our country. Deadly serious about stopping the flow of drugs and poison to our people. Deadly serious about getting back the oil that was stolen from us. And deadly serious about reestablishing American deterrence and dominance in the Western Hemisphere. This is about the safety, security, freedom, and prosperity of the American people.
Right.
This is America first. This is peace through strength.
I come over
and
there.
The United States War Department is proud to help deliver it. Welcome to 2026.
Yeah.
And under President Trump, America is back. I'd like to welcome now our Chairman Raisin Kane, to give a few more details about the operation, Mr. Chairman.
All right.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Mr. President, and good morning. Last night, on the order of the President of the United States and in support of a request from the Department of Justice, as the President said, the United States military conducted an apprehension mission in Caracas, Venezuela, to bring to justice two indicted persons, Nicolás and Cecilia Maduro. This operation, known as Operation Absolute Resolve, was discreet, precise, and conducted during the darkest hours of January 2nd and was the culmination of months of planning and rehearsal, an operation that, frankly, only the United States military could undertake. What I'd like to do this morning is talk to you through some of the preparation and the details without compromising any of our tactics, techniques, and procedures. There is always a chance that we'll be tasked to do this type of mission again. Our interagency work began months ago and built on decades of experience of integrating complex air, ground, space, and maritime operations. While the past 2 decades have honed the skills of our special operations forces, this particular mission required every component of our joint force, with soldiers, sailors, airmen, Marines, and Guardians working in unison with our intelligence agency partners and law enforcement teammates in an unprecedented operation. We leveraged our unmatched intelligence capabilities and our years of experience in hunting terrorists, and we could not have done this mission without the incredible work by various intelligence agencies, including the CIA, NSA, and NGA. We watched, we waited, we prepared, we remained patient and professional. This mission was meticulously planned, drawing lessons from decades of missions over the last many years, many missions over these last many years. This was an audacious operation that only the United States could do. It required the utmost of precision and integration within our joint force. And the word integration does not explain the sheer complexity of such a mission. An extraction so precise it involved more than 150 aircraft launching across the Western Hemisphere in close coordination, all coming together in time and place to layer effects for a single purpose: to get an interdiction force into downtown Caracas while maintaining the element of tactical surprise. Failure of one component of this well-oiled machine would have endangered the entire mission, and failure is never an option for America's joint force. Those in the air over Caracas last night were willing to give their lives for those on the ground and in the helicopters. Let me talk a little bit about the preparation. After months of work by our intelligence teammates to find Maduro and understand how he moved, where he lived, where he traveled, what he ate, what he wore, what were his pets, in early December, our force was set pending a series of aligned events. Key was choosing the right day to minimize the potential for civilian harm and maximize the element of surprise, and minimize the harm to the indicted personnel so, as the President said, they could be brought to justice. And as the President said earlier today, weather in Venezuela is always a factor this time of the year. And over the weeks through Christmas and New Year's, the men and women of the United States military sat ready, patiently waiting for the right triggers to be met and the President to order us into action. Last night, the weather broke just enough, clearing a path that only the most skilled aviators in the world could maneuver through. Ocean, mountain, low cloud ceilings. But when tasked with a mission, this organization does not quit. At 10:46 p.m. Eastern Time last night, the President ordered the United States military to move forward with this mission. He said to us, and we appreciate it, Mr. President, good luck and Godspeed. And those words were transmitted to the entire joint force. Over the course of the night, aircraft began launching from 20 different bases on land and sea across the Western Hemisphere. In total, more than 150 aircraft, bombers,
fighters, intelligence, reconnaissance, surveillance, rotary wing were in the air last night. Thousands and thousands of hours of experience were airborne. Our youngest crew member was 20, and our oldest crew member was 49, and there's simply no match for American military might. As the night began, the helicopters took off with the extraction force, which included law enforcement officers, and began their flight into Venezuela at 100 feet above the water. As they approached Venezuelan shores, the United States began layering different effects provided by Spacecom, Cybercom, and other members of the interagency to create a pathway. Overhead, those forces were protected by aircraft from the United States Marines, the United States Navy, the United States Air Force, and the Air National Guard. The force included F-22s, F-35s, F-18s, EA-18s, E-2s, B-1 bombers, and other support aircraft, as well as numerous remotely piloted drones. As the force began to approach Caracas, the Joint Air Component began dismantling and disabling the air defense systems in Venezuela, employing weapons to ensure the safe passage of the helicopters into the target area. The goal of our air component was, and always will be to protect the helicopters and the ground force and get them to the target and get them home. As the force crossed the last point of high terrain where they'd been hiding in the clutter, we assessed that we had maintained totally the element of surprise. As the helicopter force ingressed towards the objective at low level, we arrived at Maduro's compound at 1:01 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, or 2:01 a.m. Caracas local time, and the apprehension force descended into Maduro's compound and moved with speed, precision, and discipline towards their objective, and isolated the area to ensure the safety and security of the ground force while apprehending the indicted persons. On arrival into the target area, the helicopters came under fire, and they replied with that fire with overwhelming force in self-defense. One of our aircraft was hit but remained flyable, and as the President said earlier today, all of our aircraft came home, and that aircraft remained flyable during the rest of the mission. As the operation unfolded at the compound, our air and ground intelligence teams provided real-time updates to the ground force, ensuring those forces could safely navigate the complex environment without unnecessary risk. The force remained protected by overhead tactical aviation. Maduro and his wife, both indicted, gave up and were taken into custody by the Department of Justice, assisted by our incredible U.S. military with professionalism and precision, with no loss of U.S. life. After securing the indicted persons, the force began to prep for departure. Helicopters were called in to exfiltrate the extraction force, while fighter aircraft and remotely piloted aircraft provided overhead coverage and suppressive fire. There were multiple self-defense engagements as the force began to withdraw out of Venezuela. The force successfully exfiltrated and returned to their afloat launch bases, and the force was over the water at 3:29 a.m. Eastern Standard Time with indicted persons on board, and both Maduro and his wife were embarked aboard the USS Iwo Jima. In closing, what we've witnessed today is a powerful demonstration of America's joint force. We think, we develop, we train, we rehearse, we debrief, we rehearse again and again, not to get it right, but to ensure that we cannot get it wrong. Our jobs are to integrate combat power so when the order comes, we can deliver overwhelming force at the time and the place of our choosing against any foe anywhere in the world. I am immensely proud today of our joint force and filled with gratitude to represent them here today. There is simply no mission too difficult for these incredible professionals and the families that stand by them and support them. As we stand here this morning, our forces remain in the region at a high state of readiness, prepared to project power, defend themselves, and our interests in the region. This operation is a testament to the dedication and unwavering commitment to justice and our resolve to hold accountable those who threaten peace and stability. In closing, I want to express my heartfelt gratitude to the brave men and women who executed this mission. Their courage and tireless commitment to our nation are what makes us strong. Thank you, Mr. Secretary, and thank you, Mr. President.
Well, I don't have much to add to what you've heard now, other than the following points. Nicolás Maduro was indicted in 2020 in the United States. He is not the legitimate president of Venezuela. That's not just us saying it. The first Trump administration, the Biden administration, the second Trump administration, none of those three recognized him. He's not recognized by the European Union and multiple countries around the world. He is a fugitive of American justice with a $50 million reward, which I guess we say $50 million. And
make sure.
Yeah, exactly. But
don't let anybody claim it. Nobody deserves it but us.
But I want to be clear about one thing. Nicolás Maduro had multiple opportunities to avoid this. He was provided multiple very, very, very generous offers and chose instead to act like a wild man, chose instead to play around. And the result is what we saw tonight. The other message here is the following. You have a guy, like many people around the world, they like to play games. You have a guy who decides he's going to invite Iran into his country, is going to, do the confiscation of American oil companies, is going to flood our country with gang members, is going to take Americans prisoner and try to hold them for hostage and trade them like he was able to do with the Biden administration. Basically likes to play games all this time and thinks nothing's going to happen. And I hope what people now understand is that we have a president. The 47th president of the United States is not a game player. When he tells you that he's going to do something, when he tells you he's going to address a problem, he means it. He actions it. I can tell you, I've watched this process now for 14, 15 years, been around it. Everybody talks. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. When I get there, we're going to do this. We're going to take. This is a president of action. Like, I don't understand yet how they haven't figured this out. And now, if you don't know, now you know. Because this is the way it's going to play out. And I think people need to understand that this is not a president that just talks and does letters and press conferences. And, if he says he's serious about something, he means it. And this is something that was a direct threat to the national interest of the United States, and the president addressed it. There's a president of peace, by the way. I told you what I just said earlier. This guy had multiple opportunities to find his way somewhere else and figure out another. He could have been living somewhere else right now very happy, but instead he wanted to play big boy. And so now, he's got other sets of problems on his hands. And but I think the message here should be for the world. Look, the president doesn't go out looking for people to pick fights with. He's not generally wants to get along with everybody. We'll talk and meet with anybody, but don't play games. Don't play games with this president's in office, because it's not going to turn out well. And so I hope that I guess that lesson was learned last night, and we hope it'll be instructive moving forward.
Please. Well, we're going to be running it with a group, and we're going to make sure it's run properly. We're going to rebuild the oil infrastructure, which will cost billions of dollars.
But we already knew this, that they were going to involve with oil. That's why they did this.
They will.
Because the next president is going to want to do what Trump wants to do.
It's going to be paid. And we're going to get the oil flowing the way it should be. As you know, it was just a minor flow. It was actually a minor flow for what they have. But we're going to run it properly, and we're going to make sure the people of Venezuela are taken care of. We're going to make sure the people that were forced out of Venezuela by this thug are also taken care of.
Trump don't believe.
Does the U.S. running the country mean that U.S. troops will be on the ground? How will that work?
Well, they always say boots on the ground. So we're not afraid of boots on the ground if we have to have. We had boots on the ground last night at a very high level, actually. We're not afraid of it. We don't mind saying it. But we're going to make sure that that country is run properly. We're not doing this in vain. This is a very dangerous attack. This is an attack that could have gone very, very badly. Could have gone very badly. We could have lost a lot of people last night. We could have lost a lot of
and it would have been
dignity. We could have lost a lot of equipment. The equipment is less important, but we could have lost a lot. And we're going to make sure that this is proper. We're there now. We're ready to go again if we have to. We're going to run the country right. It's going to be run very judiciously, very fairly. It's going to make a lot of money. We're going to give money to the people. We're going to reimburse people that were taken advantage of.
They don't even take care of their own people. This shit is
very important. We couldn't let them get away with it. You know, they stole
Lord.
our oil. We built that whole industry there, and they just took it over like we were nothing. And we had a president that decided not to do anything about it.
Crazy.
So we did something about it. We're late, but we did something about it. Yeah, please.
Mechanism by which you're going to run the country? Are you going to designate a U.S. official to coordinate?
Yes, it's all being done right now. We're designating people. We're talking to people. We're designating various people, and we're going to let you know who those people are.
Would run Venezuela?
Well, it's largely going to be for a period of time. The people that are standing right behind me, we're going to be running it. We're going to be bringing it back. It's a dead. You know, I talk about a dead country.
Wow.
A year and a half ago, we were a dead country. Now we're the hottest country anywhere in the world. We're a country doing better than any country anywhere in the world. And it required leadership. Venezuela has a lot of bad people in there, a lot of bad people that shouldn't be leading. We're not going to take a chance that one of those people take over for Maduro. So you can look at, and others, we have fantastic people, including people in the military. So we're going to have a group of people running it until such time as it can be put back on track, make a lot of money for the people, and give people a great way of life, and also reimbursement for people in our country that were forced out of Venezuela.
Rubio would be.
You said earlier today that you weren't going to back Machado to come back and be the opposition leader in your Fox and Friends interview. And then you also mentioned the vice president of Venezuela. Are you going to work with the vice president of Venezuela, or how do you foresee the relationship going?
I understand she was just sworn in, but she was, as you know, picked by Maduro. So Marco's working on that directly. He just had a conversation with her, and she's essentially willing to do what we think is necessary to make Venezuela great again. Very simple.
Oh, my God.
Mr. President, Colombian President Gustavo Petro, a couple weeks ago, he said he's got to watch his ass. And today he said he's not concerned about anything happening to him in the aftermath of this operation. So just what your message is about that.
Well, he has cocaine mills. He has factories where he makes cocaine. And, yeah, I think I stick by my first statement.
Trump don't get what he's
making cocaine. They're sending it into the United States. So he does have to watch his ass.
He does it to people on
Mr. President, did you notify any members of Congress in advance?
Marco, do you want to talk about that? Because you were involved in it.
Sure. We called members of Congress immediately after. This was not the kind of mission that you can do congressional notification on. It was a trigger-based mission in which conditions had to be met night after night. We watched and monitored that for a number of days. So it's just simply not the kind of mission you can call people and say, hey, we may do this at some point in the next 15 days. But it's largely a law enforcement function. Remember, at the end of the day, at its core, this was an arrest of 2 indicted fugitives of American justice, and the Department of War supported the Department of Justice in that job. Now, there are broader policy implications here, but it's just not the kind of mission that you can pre-notify.
Y'all went over there. The law enforcement shouldn't do this on their own.
Plus, if I could add one thing to that, Congress has a tendency to leak.
It wasn't approved attack.
This would not be good. If they leaked, General, I think it would have been maybe a very different result.
That's crazy.
But I have to say, they knew we were coming at some point, you know. A lot of ships out there, they sort of knew we were coming. We went through. But Congress will leak, and we don't want leakers.
People to watch this all play out live.
What was Maduro doing we don't want leakers.
When the U.S. forces entered what I assume would be his home? And also, was there any...
If everybody walked away from Trump, he would be powerless.
Or resisted killing Maduro?
It could have happened,
but
it could have happened.
Everybody's afraid of
a safe place. You know, the safe place.
Everybody's afraid of
steel. And he wasn't able to make it to the door because
they'll be forever
guys were
like
so fast. They went through the opposition so fast, and there was a lot of opposition. You know, people were wondering, do we get him by surprise? Sort of surprised, but they were waiting for something. It was a lot of opposition. There was a lot of gunfire. You saw some of it today, but he was trying to get to his safe place, which wasn't safe because we would have had the door blown up in about 47 seconds, they say on average, regardless of how thick the steel was. It was a very thick door. It was a very heavy door, but he was unable to get to that door. He made it to the door. He was unable to close it. Go ahead, finish.
to be in the time being right now? Do you know his exact
Well,
whereabouts?
eventually, ultimately, in the near future, he's going to be brought to New York.
And where is he going to be held? Where is he going to be held in New York? Do you know?
That's going to be up to the officials that do these things.
Mr. President, the U.S. has something of a mixed track record of ousting dictators without necessarily a plan for what comes afterwards.
Not with
Did
me.
that weigh on your decision?
Well, that's when we had different presidents, but with me, that's not true. With me, we've had a perfect track record of winning.
I mean, Congress
we win
never know
a
about
lot,
this.
and we win. If you look at
Even
Soleimani,
required-
you look at al-Baghdadi, you look at the Midnight Hammer. Midnight Hammer was incredible. Right now, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. We have essentially peace in the Middle East because of that. If we weren't successful with Midnight Hammer, you wouldn't have peace in the Middle East. So, with me, you've had a lot of victory. You've had only victories. You've had no losses. Yeah.
How long do you expect the U.S. to run Venezuela, and how soon do you want the Venezuelan people to hold elections?
So I'd like to do it quickly, but it takes a period of time. You know, we're rebuilding. We have to rebuild their whole infrastructure. The infrastructure is rotted. It's actually very dangerous. It's blow-up territory. Oil is very dangerous. It's a very dangerous thing to take out of the ground. It can kill a lot of people. It has killed a lot of people doing just that. The infrastructure is old. It's rotted. Much of it is stuff that we put there 25 years ago, and we're going to be replacing it. And we're going to take a lot of money out so that we can take care of the country. Yeah.
Are you saying that Secretary Rubio and
Mr. President, China, Russia, and Iran have interests in Venezuela. How does this operation affect your relationships with them when it comes to the oil and drugs?
In terms of China and Russia, Russia, when we get things straightened out. But in terms of other countries that want oil, we're in the oil business. We're going to sell it to them. We're not going to say we're not going to give it to them. In other words, we'll be selling oil probably in much larger doses because they couldn't produce very much because their infrastructure was so bad. So we'll be selling large amounts of oil to other countries, many of whom are using it now, but I would say many more will come.
Are you saying, Mr. President, are you saying that, Mr. President, are you saying that,
Mr. President, thank you. What is your message to the people of Venezuela today? Of course, the civilian population specifically, they have a lot of questions. What is your message to the people of Venezuela?
That you're going to have peace, justice. You're going to have some of the riches that you should have had for a long period of time. It was stolen from you. But you're going to have peace and you're going to have safety.
What about the stuff that was stolen from us?
You're going to have a real country. You're going to have potentially a great country. You know, if you go back 20 years, maybe even a little longer ago, that was a great country. And they destroyed it. Remember I said that if we lose this election, the United States will be Venezuela on steroids. That's what would have happened. Had we lost the election, the 2024 election, we suffered so badly. When you look at the border from 2020, what they did, what Joe Biden administration did to our country should never be forgotten. But if we had to go through another year of that, we would be exactly where Venezuela was in terms. I used to say, if they win, we're going to be Venezuela on steroids, and that's what would have happened.
President, thank you. Are you saying that Secretary Hegseth and Rubio are going to be running Venezuela, and will you be sending in U.S. military
troops to provide? They're going to be a team that's working with the people of Venezuela to make sure that we have Venezuela right. Because for us to just leave, who's going to take over? I mean, there is nobody to take over. You have a vice president who's been appointed by Maduro. And right now she's the vice president, and she's, I guess, the president. She was sworn in as president just a little while ago. She had a long conversation with Marco, and she said, we'll do whatever you need. I think she was quite gracious, but she really doesn't have a choice. We're going to have this done right. We're not going to just do this with Maduro, then leave like everybody else, leave and say, let it go to hell. If we just left, it has zero chance of ever coming back. We'll run it properly. We'll run it professionally. We'll have the greatest oil companies in the world go in and invest billions and billions of dollars and take out money, use that money in Venezuela. And the biggest beneficiary are going to be the people of Venezuela. And also, I can't stress this strongly enough, the people that got thrown out of Venezuela that are now in the United States. And frankly, some want to stay and some probably want to go back. Yeah.
in the country, and were any of the detained Americans?
Well, right now they're very
last
protected because nobody's going to mess with us. They're very protected. The people of, and we let them know that you better not touch one of them.
Are you concerned that bad elements of the Maduro regime will remain in place?
Well, we know who they are. We're on them, and they're acting much differently now than they would have acted 2 days ago. Okay, wait, behind you, please.
Mr. President, why is running a country in South America America first?
Well, I think it is because we want to surround ourselves with good neighbors. We want to surround ourselves with stability. We want to surround ourselves with energy. We have tremendous energy in that country. It's very important that we protect it. We need that for ourselves. We need that for the world. And we want to make sure we can protect it. Yes, sir. Please, go ahead.
Is there a message here for Cuba and Diaz-Canel?
Well, Cuba is an interesting case. Cuba is, not doing very well right now. That system has not been a very good one for Cuba. The people there have suffered for many, many years. And I think Cuba is going to be something we'll end up talking about because Cuba is a failing nation right now, very badly failing nation. And we want to help the people. It's very similar in the sense that we want to help the people in Cuba, but we want to also help the people that were forced out of Cuba and living in this country. Do you want to say something about that, Marco, please?
Well, I mean, I just gave you a statement a few minutes ago about, when the president speaks, you should take him seriously. So suffice it to say, Cuba is a disaster. It's run by incompetent, senile men, and in some cases, not senile, but incompetent nonetheless. It has no economy. It's in total collapse. And by the way, they were, all of the guards that helped protect Maduro, this is well known, their whole spy agency, all that were full of Cubans. I mean, it's amazing. This poor island took over Venezuela in some cases. One of the biggest problems the Venezuelans have is they have to declare independence from Cuba that tried to basically colonize it from a security standpoint. So, yeah, look, if I lived in Havana and I was in the government, I'd be concerned, at least a little bit.
Cutting off the oil flow to Cuba from Venezuela?
Well, the president already announced a week ago that anything that's sanctioned, it's sanctioned oil, it's not going to be allowed to get there. So that's a pre-existing.
The answer is yes. Yes. No, we haven't. No, we haven't.
Mr. President. Mr. President, on Monday.
Oh, I think it would be very tough for her to be the leader. She doesn't have the support within or the respect within the country. She's a very nice woman, but she doesn't have the respect.
Mr. President, is it possible that the U.S. ends up administrating Venezuela for years?
Well, it won't cost us anything because the money coming out of the ground is very substantial. So it's not going to cost us anything. We will. Well, we want safety there. We want to be surrounded by countries that aren't housing all of our enemies all over the world. That was happening, and you don't want to have that. But we're going to be rebuilding, and we're not spending money. The oil companies are going to go in. They're going to spend money. We're going to take back the oil that, frankly, we should have taken back a long time ago. A lot of money is coming out of the ground. We're going to get reimbursed for all of that. We're going to get reimbursed for everything that we spend. So it's going to be a very important. This is a very big evening that took place last night. We have to be surrounded by safe, secure countries, and we also have to have energy. Very important. We have to have energy that's real energy, not where they're getting 4% and 5% of the energy out of the ground. You take a look. It was such a disaster. So what's going to happen with Venezuela, I think, over the next period of a year is going to be a great thing, and the people of Venezuela will be the biggest beneficiaries.
Going to send in the U.S. military.
Mr. President, thank you. What did you last speak to Maduro about when you spoke? And is the
Well,
US
I don't want to get
war
into
with
the
Venezuela?
conversations, but I did have conversations with him, and I said, you got to surrender. And I actually thought he was pretty close to doing so, but now he wished he did, yeah.
You said that Maduro is responsible for drug trafficking. You recently pardoned the former president of Honduras, who was convicted of many drug trafficking. Can you explain how these two situations are different? And would you ever pardon Maduro?
I endorsed, as you know, the winning president, the man who won in Honduras. I endorsed the man who won in Chile. I endorsed the man who won in Argentina. And we are doing very well with that whole group. What the man that I pardoned was, if you could equate it to us, he was treated like the Biden administration treated a man named Trump. That didn't work out too well for them. this was a man who was persecuted very unfairly. He was the head of the country. He was persecuted very unfairly. And there are a number of them. And we felt that it was a very unfair situation that happened to him. He's also a party member of the man who won. So obviously the people liked what I did. And one of the reasons that was done is because of the fact that the party in power felt very strongly that that man was treated very badly. I studied it very quickly, and then I studied it in great detail. I went to a lot of the people standing behind me, and they felt that that man was persecuted and treated very badly. That's why I gave him a pardon.
You referenced boots on the ground earlier. Can you just sort of button this up? Do you envision the U.S. military having a presence in Venezuela as the U.S. runs that country?
No, we're going to have a presence in Venezuela as it pertains to oil, because we have to have, we're sending our expertise in. So you may need something, not very much. But no, we're going to be taking out a tremendous amount of wealth out of the ground. And that wealth is going to the people of Venezuela and people from outside of Venezuela that used to be in Venezuela. And it goes also to the United States of America in the form of reimbursement for the damages caused us by that country. So I want to thank you all very much. Thank you. Do you have one? Yes, please. You were so nice before. I'm going to give you the final question. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mr.
Unless
President.
it's a bad question, in
It's
which
about
case
Putin.
I'll go one word. It's about who?
It's about Putin, if you want.
About Putin. Well, that's
Okay.
always nice
You had
to
a
talk
phone-
about Putin.
You had a phone call with him
Yeah.
on Monday. Did he talk at all about Maduro? Did y'all talk about this?
No, we didn't.
And
We
then-
never spoke about Maduro.
Are you mad at him right now? I mean, there's this
I'm not
intelligence.
thrilled with Putin. I'm not thrilled with Putin. He's killing too many people. I thought that would be so. I settled 8 1/4 war. You know what the 1/4 was? Thailand and Cambodia. I did it again. They broke out, and I did it in about 5 hours, and I settled it. I'm giving myself 1/4, so I'm up to now 8 1/4. In other words, I settled the war, but then they broke out. They had a pretty bad breakout over the last 4 days. I got them to go back to peace, so I only give 1/4. I thought the easiest one would be, one of the easier ones would be Russia, Ukraine. It's not, and they both have done some pretty bad things. And look, that's Biden's war. That's not my war. But I want to stop the lives. Did you see where last month, 30,000, it was 27,000 the month before. 30,000, mostly soldiers, were killed this last month. 30,000. I want to stop that. You know, I got NATO to pay 5% instead of the 2% that they weren't paying. They weren't paying 2, now they pay 5. And we send them a lot of munitions. We send them a lot of things, missiles and various other things, a lot. And they pay. The United States is not losing money. We're probably making money on that. It's the last thing I care about. I just want to stop all those people. We're losing 25, 30,000 human beings. They come from 2 places that are very far away. But if I can stop, because it's something I've been pretty good at doing, deals, I guess. It's all a deal. Life is a big deal. But if I can stop that war and stop 30,000 young people, in addition to the fact that people are being killed in Kiev, people are being killed in other cities throughout, a much smaller number, but they're being killed, viciously killed. So I'm not happy about it. I thought that would be something that would get solved. We have Mr. Witkoff here. I think that we're making progress, but that's a war that should have never happened. If I were president, it would have never happened. Putin says it. Everybody says it. If I were president, that would have never happened. But I inherited that war. That was Joe Biden, Zelensky, and Putin. I came into the situation, and it's a mess. And I will say this. I watched an operation last night that was so precise, that was so brilliant. I mean, it was incredible. If we had our people, like this general and our people involved, that war would not have gone on very long, that I can tell you. That war, to use an old term, that war has become a bloodbath, and we want it to get stopped. Thank you very much, everybody.